Hello, I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us today on Newsmakers. Well, starting on a path to a college career is a big step. An even bigger step is completing that path and graduating. And we're visiting today with a program here at Missouri Southern that's helping many students in our community, Project Stay. Joining me, we have Debbie Fort and Eddie Kirkendall and Jessie Davis. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Some people may have heard about your program, but Debbie, I think we need to start off with a basic definition. When you say, I'm with Project Stay at Missouri Southern, how do you explain that to people?
That's a great question. Thanks for asking. So Project Stay is part of a TRIO program. TRIO grants were initiated back in the 1970s by President Johnson. He decided everybody should have the opportunity to go to college, not just a certain class of people. And so it initiated with 3 different grants, hence the name TRIO, in the 70s, and that's kind of how we came into being. TRIO at Missouri Southern Project Stay has been here. I think this is our 4th grant cycle, and a cycle is 5 years. Okay. Additionally, there are 2 additional programs, Upward Bound and Talent Search.
So you're all tied together and supporting the students, and it's a grant program that has to be renewed. It's not the government's just saying you're here forever.
That is correct. We write a grant every 5 years and cross our fingers and hope we get renewed, and so far we've been fortunate.
Well, I thought we'll talk today about the program, let the audience know about it, and it's probably maybe for the community something they don't realize goes on behind the scenes in many cases at universities and what's happening. So are there any main goals as far as what you want to accomplish with Project Stay?
Our main goal is to help students graduate. Mm-hmm. So our goal for our students is that within 6 years, because we know sometimes life happens and you don't always get to complete within 4. Right. So within 6 years, our goal is that our students complete their bachelor's degree, and we have a 42% success rate. So 42% of the students that enter our program graduate within 6 years. We're very proud of that.
And that probably leads to the next question. People are wondering, well, how does someone get into this program? And then we'll talk a little bit later about all the different the benefits of the program. But what about, how do students get in? What are the eligibility requirements? Jessie, is that something you can cover as far as, or how, talk about, I'm a student at Missouri Southern, I'm interested in this program. What do they need to do?
Well, there's 3 criteria. You only have to meet one of them out of those, but you either have to be a first-generation college student, means neither parent have a bachelor's. They can have an associate's, just not a bachelor's degree. Or if they meet a certain income guideline. Now we have a chart that we follow, and it's kind of complicated, so we always just tell students, if you're not sure, just come in, we can look at the chart.
So it's based on like family size,
yes,
different
family
factors.
size, taxable income, and then the other one, if they have a documented disability. So, but they only have to meet one of those criterias. Now there are a few other things that we look at in addition to that. One, we want to make sure that they're actually going to class, so we will actually contact their professors when we start the process of bringing them in, and just kind of get some professor feedback, make sure they're attending classes, turning in their assignments. You have to have at least a 2.2 GPA, because we do want to have at least a certain standard in order to get in there. And then we also, will
be on track.
Can they graduate within that 6 years? So some of the things that we look at would be, are they going full-time, or are they going part-time? Because at the end of the day, we have to reach that goal of 6 years.
6 years within the program for what they. So you have a step-by-step process. They would, if a freshman were to start in the program, to help guide them through those 4, 5, 6 years it takes for them to actually complete their program.
And even like when we are selecting our students, we have them come in for an initial interview. It's really kind of a way for us to kind of get to know them individually. And we just really ask some basic questions like, what is your major? What are you wanting to accomplish when you graduate? What are your goals? We also set up a time for them to come in and take a couple of different assessments. One's on like a career inventory, so we can kind of gauge, maybe what career path they want to take. And then the other one is related to like time management survey, and it really gives them an opportunity to kind of let us know how they feel in those areas. And so that way, when they are in our program, we can try to address those concerns that they have.
Now we hear a lot about Missouri Southern really having a diverse population of students. Do you find that there are quite a few that meet some of those requirements? First generation, perhaps. We hear a lot of students come here without that family background of higher education. And
actually, 85% of students at Missouri Southern qualify to be in our program. So about 5,600 students qualify for Project Stay, but unfortunately we only have 175 positions.
So there's some limitations on how many you can serve due to the grant funding that comes through the program, and tying that together. Well, the application process, you mentioned they come in for an interview. So let's walk people through. Someone's watching this program, they say, well, I'm interested in this. What do they need to do? How do they do that? The process of saying, I want to be part of this program.
So they have a couple of options. We do have an application. They can apply just in our office.
So
They
the
can
actual piece of paper I
stop
can
by and
fill
pick our
out.
application. Yep. Or they can go to mssu.edu/projectsday and find the online application there, print it out, fill it out, drop it by our office. We do need tax documentation with each application, and it kind of walks them through that. But yeah, as far as applying, that's all it takes is just completing the paper application, getting it back to our office, along with the tax documentation, and we just sort of get it processed as soon as we can.
So
And
then you work on verifying that information and seeing where you can go from there.
Yes.
Now, is there a certain timetable? And we're recording this program in September. Somebody might say, well, school's already started. Can I still apply?
there's not really a timetable. We take students on at the beginning of the fall and spring semesters. We don't take as many on in the beginning of the spring, but definitely during the fall. So in order to be able to check classes and make sure that students are attending their classes, things like that, we wait a few weeks into the fall semester to start emailing teachers and things like that. So there's really no deadline to apply. If they don't, if they don't hear about us until the middle of the fall semester, it's not too late. They can apply. We can get them on our waiting list and look at that application come the springtime. So yeah, there's really no deadline. Just the sooner the better.
Get your name in their consideration.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Debbie, I know you do we have a class here at Missouri Southern for freshmen specifically, the new students. You visit with those classes or share information with those classes about this program.
We do. In the past, we would go visit each class to share the information. But since that's changed from a 3 to a 1 hour class, now we've made a video featuring us as well as some of our remarkable students. And so each UE 100 class will be watching that video to learn about the program.
Okay. Now, for our viewers, I believe we have that video on the website. I don't know if we can call that up so they can just see. You talked about mssu.edu and then it's Project Stay. So if they go to the website, they'll see the link to that video and good information in a concise format that we're going to talk a little bit longer about today, but you can see on the screen right now the video and information. And so a lot of basic information on the screen that they can find out through the website. But I know we also have a video that you talk about students, and of course students are the core of the project. You're here for the students. One of our students had an opportunity to go to your office, which I guess we should mention it's in Hearns Hall.
Yes.
So the 3rd floor of Hearns Hall.
308.
So that's where people can go in person to visit with you, but we did have one of our students from the television studio go visit, and I think he had a chance to visit with a student who's in the program. So I'm going to let our viewers take a look at what are kind of a testimonial for what we got from a student about the program.
Great.
Let's take a look at the video.
This is my 3rd year in Project Stay. What I like most about it is the advisors. You get to know them over the years. They help you out a lot with maybe joining different clubs, finding jobs. They really try to keep you involved around the campus. Actually, about 70% of Missouri Southern students actually qualify for the program. So there's a very good chance you could get in. The spots are limited. For me, one of my favorite moments have been the quiz bowls Project Stay has. We have them about 2 times a semester. We'll do like this fun kind of trivia thing. We'll have, we'll bring some food in, so like nachos, candy, soda, that type of stuff. It's really awesome.
So it sounds like the program goes beyond serving the students, but almost builds a sense of community among the students.
I would agree with that. I feel like we're family, and every person wants to know that there is that one person they can go to no matter what. And I think that we fill that role for our students, that if they need a schedule change, if they just need someone to talk to, whatever it is they need, we're there 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, year round. They can Facebook us. They know how to reach us.
So from a student's perspective, they may have their academic counselor dealing with their area of study, but they can come to you for additional resources.
Right.
Well, just to give you one example, I had a student just the other day who was looking to try to find an apartment, more in the Joplin area. So I had contacted Josh Stokes, who sent me a list of all the different apartments, and I forwarded that to that student. So, I mean, we always tell students, if you're not sure, just come in. If we don't know, if we don't have that answer, we can go out and find that answer for them.
So don't be afraid to ask.
Right.
There's a lot of information, a lot of resources out there. Well, let's talk about some of the services. He mentioned, he said one of my favorite activities. Sounds like there are a lot of fun events planned as well. So tell me about what he was talking about in that video, about how you get together and kind of have social activities and things.
We do. There are a lot of activities that we do with our students, but probably what he was referring to, we all like to eat, of course. And so often we'll have activities. We're going to have an ice cream sundae party coming up in a couple weeks. And it's just opportunities for the students to come in. One of the things that we do in our program that we can provide are cultural trips, and there are never any charges to the students. And so a couple times a semester, we take students to an area cultural site. Might be Kansas City. We're getting ready to go to Crystal Bridges Museum, something that's within a couple of hours. But what we do on those trips is we learn a lot about our students that you don't learn in the formal setting here on campus. When you have 10 students in a van driving somewhere, you learn a lot more about them personally. And they get to know each other better, and they're building those relationships with each other in that van. So cultural trips are very important for a variety of reasons.
So going beyond what they're learning here on campus and the community involvement. Now I know community involvement, if people on Missouri Southern's campus have looked, there are posters up about a book drive. So not only do you go out and enjoy from the community, but you give back to the community. Tell me about these type of programs and what they're involved in.
Yeah, so each semester we try to do, 2 to 3 community service activities that our students can be involved in. So right now we're doing a book drive up until Halloween, collecting books for Turnaround Ranch. In the past, every fall we typically serve Thanksgiving dinner at Water Gardens. We've went and helped walk animals at the Humane Society, helped out with Operation Fairy Godmother, Ronald McDonald House. So it's just a fun way to get our students together, get them connected to the community, as well as giving back. So yeah, we really enjoy doing that, and I think our students do too, just that sense of belonging and giving back to the community.
And for our audience, this runs through October 31st. They might be wondering, what kind of books are you looking for? Can you give me some details about what you're trying to do?
Turnaround Ranch is a residential educational facility for students, and the students there are ages 8 to 18, and they don't have any pleasure reading materials. And so really anything from perhaps a kindergarten reading level might be appropriate up through an adult reading level, age appropriate materials. Any books. Everybody has books at home that they've
finished
outgrown
reading,
or they've read, and now it's like, what do I do with these? We will take your books, contact us, we'll come pick them up, or they can drop them by Hearns 308.
Yeah, people have children that have grown up, they left the books behind. What are we going to do with these? So bring them by Hearns Hall, and then you will present these then to the Turnaround Ranch to help their residents who are there. Well, let's talk about the academic side of things as well. Academic advising. People in the community might wonder, well, how don't they have advisors in their departments? People have to enroll for classes. Explain how that ties into Project Stay. What's involved there?
Well, I would say that we primarily act as a secondary advisor unless you're an undeclared major, and then we can act as your primary advisor. So like as a secondary advisor, let's say that you can't get a hold of your primary advisor, and maybe a schedule changed at work, you've got to rearrange your schedule. Well, you can always kind of pop into our office and we can kind of make those changes for them. Oftentimes, before they actually enroll, I will sit down with my students and work on their schedule with them a little bit, so that way they're a little bit more prepared when they actually go visit with their primary advisor. And so, but each semester is different. It changes. I mean, and sometimes you have students who change their major sometimes. Right. So maybe they're kind of in a transitional period. So maybe they just go back as undeclared for a little while. Then I help them. Then eventually they may change into a different major at that time.
I know Missouri Southern has put emphasis, as all schools and universities in the state, on trying to have 15 hours and reach toward. Are you trying to explain that to new students as they come in? That look at your future long-range goal of graduating.
Yeah, I mean, part of the idea is to let them know that, a typical year is 30 credit hours that they need to take. Now, for some students, if they're maybe working 35, 40 hours a week, it can be a little bit difficult trying to go 15 hours. So we will encourage the alternative is that maybe they take some classes in the summer to try to find that balance. But we really just try to focus on each individual student because everyone has their own different needs.
And he mentioned the word individual, which I saw on your website, and mentioning that. So you get to know the students personally, the ones you're working with. So person A is different from person B, and they have certain needs. You can address those needs and working together. So,
absolutely.
And tying all of that together. So the counseling aspect, academic counseling, do you have students who just come in and need someone to talk to, that career type or maybe personal counseling? Like, I had a rough week this week.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm the counselor for the office as far as mental health goes, and so students come to me for a variety of reasons. Could be, having difficulty in their academic life, balancing school, work, family, depression, anxiety, and as well as people who just want to come chat and talk about their careers and things. So yeah, we get students all the time who need to come in and chat, and we're always there for them, and of course we're always all open ears, any one of us, and so it's a neat thing. We're, as Deb mentioned earlier, we're like that family, but we're like a big support system for them as well.
So for the student who maybe has changed their major because they started off the first year and I really don't want to do this, I want to try something else, you help them look at other goals for their careers, other options that they can do?
Well, one of the things that I always try to encourage our students to do is job shadow. Even if they kind of know what they want to do, I still encourage them to do a couple of job shadows, because once they actually do a job shadow, either that may reaffirm that they're on the right path, or maybe they decide to change their mind. I remember I had one student who came into our program, and I believe her parents were trying to, kind of push her towards
Mom and
nursing.
Dad say, do this, right?
Yes. And so, because every time I asked her, what's your major, she'd say, well, my parents want me to be a nurse. And so, so I kind of saw that as a slightly of a red flag in a way. And so we did a job shadow, and it was an 8-hour shift at Freeman Hospital. And our process is really easy. All they have to do is just fill out a form, and then we start that process for them to get everything set up. They just have to go. And after that shift, she came back within a week, because they have to turn in certain paperwork within a week's time. And she told me right off the bat she was not going to be a nurse.
That convinced her that
yes, she couldn't handle the blood part of it, and so which is obviously probably an important thing if you're going to be a nurse.
Right.
And so, but what was good about that is that she found out early on. So imagine that she took all these classes that are going towards that area, and then you change your mind, and so that's going to slow you down a little bit. So we caught this early. We ended up doing several other job shadows, and eventually she ended up choosing elementary education. So, and I just think that job shadow really kind of helped her kind of get on that path that she needed.
It sounds like you have good community support then to work with companies to do this.
Yes, I mean Freeman Hospital has been great, but we worked with just a lot of different local business owners in the community, and they seem to be pretty receptive about helping
people out. Now, in addition to the academic side, there comes a time when registration, we're recording this in September. I was mentioning to some students today, before you know it's going to be October, and they're going to be saying, think about your courses for next semester. Imagine there are some benefits to being in Project Stay when that time comes around.
Absolutely. We have lots of benefits, but probably our number one most requested benefit is called priority enrollment. And priority enrollment means our students get to enroll before any other students. There's a select group on campus, the honor students, the athletes, our students, documented disability, and the New Yours to Lose. That's for a freshman, that means you're enrolling a month before other freshmen are enrolling, which is huge because you get to pick your schedule, your hours, your time, your dates, your teachers, your classes. So I think priority enrollment is probably our most requested. This year they get to enroll October 23rd, which is significantly earlier
than the rest of campus.
Yes.
So they know ahead of time, I'm getting the time. If you mentioned somebody's working, I can work around my work schedule because I got in early.
Right.
And tying that together. Do you have many students who they complete their degree and they're saying, well, maybe I want to go into graduate school? What comes next? Some might say, well, I want to go to grad school. Do you offer services along those lines for students?
Well, just to give you an example, this semester we're going to be doing a workshop kind of / panel where we're going to have various departments that are here on campus. Some representatives come and talk about their graduate programs here. And so now we try to mix it up each semester, whether maybe we go to University of Arkansas or MSU, but at least this semester we're going to focus on the graduate programs,
offered right here at Missouri Southern.
And we will help students with their application to apply to graduate school. We always just tell them, the first step is just come into our office, and then we will start from there.
And that could be a daunting task for a student who's surviving their undergraduate years and thinking, well, I want to go on, but where do I start to get into a grad school?
So I have written a few, or written a few of the letters sometimes they have to write. And so, because we will proofread, anything, for them. So.
Right. And one thing we always want to point out to all the students, not just ours, is that when you go to graduate school, there is a TRIO program there. It's called McNair Scholars, and it gives them $6,000 a year toward tuition, which is huge. So we always encourage our students, look to see if it's a McNair school.
See if you can continue to have this type of support as your graduate program. Speaking of finances, financial aid, are there any benefits if are along the financial aid aspect? Students join the program. How about
I have a couple different things in regards to financial aid. One is we help them fill out their financial aid because, that's about an 83-page document. And if you've never had anyone in your family go to college, that's daunting to fill out that application. So every year, we always encourage them, apply for that foundation scholarship. Always apply. You never know what the requirements are going to be. And then we have a program within our program called Grant Aid. And so basically that's scholarship money. It's minimally the minimum Pell amount, which is around $600 to $700. We give 10 of those a year, 7 in the spring and 3 in the summer. And so that's probably our second most requested benefit of our program is Grant Aid. Government tells us we need to give that to freshmen and sophomores primarily because that keeps them enrolled. Then if we have any funds left over, we can give to juniors and seniors, but we always have freshmen and sophomores who apply for
who want that
funding.
money and can use it along those lines. Now, college can be a daunting task, not only paying for it, but on just sometimes understanding the financial aspects. That you have financial support programs, workshops, anything like that to help people understand, the whole world of finances.
Yeah, we've done workshops called Cash Course in the past. Workshops on just budgeting, saving money, loans, because oftentimes students may not understand what they're getting themselves into when they take out loans and things like that. So we do workshops as far as finances go. Doing a couple on investing this semester.
Okay.
But so we definitely try to advise them and guide them as far as that aspect of things,
Financial.
paying for college and that you might have to pay back later and just sort of preparing them for that.
I'm curious about the investing workshop. So this helps them think about, after I get out of school, I'll start making money, I can put that money to work.
Because I think the greatest advantage for college students is if they start investing while they're young, that compounding interest, they're going to be able to save over a lifetime and they're going to have more towards retirement. And so, but we also want to make sure that they understand kind of the basics on how to get started. Because a lot of students, will have to go out there eventually and pay for a financial advisor, are going to spend a lot of money trying to get this set up. And so we try to find other ways for them to do it themselves, but without kind of cutting that middle person
So give
out.
them the knowledge to be able to make those decisions.
And what's also good about the workshops is that anyone can actually go to them. You don't actually have to be a Project Stay student to attend those workshops. So we always, encourage, anyone that is,
so
just wants to gain that knowledge.
Community, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we find out about those through your website as well?
Yeah, SharePoint has a list, on our deal that talks about, the schedule. You can also just stop by our office and just ask about those.
Right, and those are held here on the campus.
Yes.
So people can check that schedule out and come to that presentation when you have that available.
And we record those workshops also and post those on YouTube. So for example, Jessie just did one with one of our students on extreme couponing last week. Yeah, we're doing a workshop with H&R Block on how to file your taxes, and one with Freeman on how to apply for health insurance if you don't have, how to search the marketplace. So we try to offer really practical workshops, things that you need in life to be successful.
Going beyond just being a student, what am I going to need beyond that career, and tying that together. We heard the feedback of the soundbite from the student at the beginning. Do you get a lot of feedback from your students after they graduate? They've gone through your success rate, graduation rate. Somebody comes back to you later and talks about having been in the program, the difference it made, or anything like that?
I was actually Facebook messaging with one of our students right before I came over here on her job search and what it is she's doing. And so our students tend to be like our high school students when they would come back in to see you. Our students tend to come back in. We stay connected.
So they keep in touch with you, you try to keep in touch with them.
We do.
How about the peer support aspect? We talked about going on group trips together, the social things. Do you find maybe the upperclassmen who have been in the program for a couple of years will kind of take a freshman or sophomore under their wing and say, well, here's, I'm going to help you out? Do you get that kind of support?
Actually, right before I came over, we just completed our survey. We're big believers in using data to drive the instruction and to set the program. And so every fall, we meet with each student twice a semester. The first semester meeting, we always survey the students, give us your impressions, how can we improve? And that was one of the comments that I actually read right before I came over, was that this student was saying how much they appreciated some direction that they had received from a student, an older student or upperclassman student. Eddie and Jessie have a leadership class that they offer in the spring, and in that class we focus a lot on job interviewing skills. They do mock interviews, how to write a good resume, a cover letter, etc. And they learn a lot from each other in that class also.
So the career benefits, somebody graduates, does this help them stand out on a resume when they're applying for a job?
I think so, because, I mean, one of the things that we want them doing while they're going to school is constantly trying to gain experience. Whether that's going out there and doing a variety of job shadows or taking our leadership and professional development class. And what I like about that class is, one, it's a 2 credit hour course, so you actually get college credit for it. It doesn't cost anything, so it's free for our students. The class sizes are generally pretty small. Roughly around maybe 12, 15 students or so. Okay. And so, it's very kind of individualized in the classroom. We obviously, we work on the resumes, the mock interview, but we're also just working on team building exercises. Where you kind of get to learn about networking, the importance of that, and it seems like once they graduate and finish our program, they go out there, they're a lot more confident when they're applying for jobs. They feel more comfortable in writing those cover letters, updating that resume. And one of the things that we always tell our students, even if you do your job shadows and the leadership class, and you graduate, it doesn't mean that we won't stop trying to help you. So we have students, that will send me an email saying, hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you look over my resume and cover letter? And so, we're always going to be there to help them.
So that lifetime commitment,
Yes.
basically keeping in touch with people as they go through their careers, and tying that together. Well, as we're recording this program, you do have spaces available fall of 2017. So you're inviting people to apply at this point.
We do.
And
we serve 175 students total. And then the first few weeks, what we're doing right now is determining who did not return, they graduated or they moved, and that determines how many openings we have.
Right.
We're predicting we'll have between 40 to 60 openings. I have about 30 students on the waiting list right now, but we're always welcoming students to come in and apply.
Okay, so come by the office, see you and say, I'd like one of these applications. Check out your website. They can find out the information there. And if they have questions, how do they reach you if they have a phone, need to call you? What's the best way to reach your office?
Well, my number is 625-9828, and they can call us anytime, email us, stop by.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, I'd like to thank the three of you for sharing information today for the audience and the community, letting them know about another program at Missouri Southern helping our students succeed. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Hope you can join me again next week at the same time on the station. I'm Judy Stiles. I'll see you then.